balance. It's always this delicate balance between, when we teach, for example, the creative process, this balance between generating many ideas, which we call divergent thinking, which our minds do naturally, and convergent thinking, which is to bring together, to coalesce, to synthesize. And if you don't have the balance right, if you first don't diverge and really fully explore, but then balance that off with good evaluative thinking, it's hard to get to a creative breakthrough. You need both. Unfortunately, in some ways, education focuses heavily on the convergent thinking, the synthesizing, the making decisions, the evaluating. And often what gets overlooked is that has to be balanced off by this ability and willingness to be curious, to explore, to be open.
Play.
To play, right. And to your point in terms of another delicate balance in creativity is you need the idea time, you need to create that time to reflect, to incubate, to allow a problem to sit with you for a while, but also ultimately to be creative. You have to implement, you have to do something. So again, we see that balance, that tension. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why creativity is difficult is always that balance. You have the balance between taking risks, but also being wise. How do you balance that? So throughout the literature and creativity, I would say that part of what we help people to do is to embrace what appears to be opposites so that they can balance those opposing forces and to manage them so that they can more effectively get to that point where they're using their imagination, as Osborne would say, applied imagination. It's not just imagination for imagination's sake, but it's doing something with your imagination. Again, there's from his famous book, that sort of forced union between two opposites, application and imagination. Those don't go together, but that's really what creativity is about. It's applied imagination, as he said so well 50-some years ago. The conventional definition of creativity, which many scholars in the field have adopted, which is the production of original ideas that add value. So here again we find a polarity: originality that's valuable, or novel thinking that solves a problem. It's novelty and usefulness, which unfortunately, although it's changed over time, especially I've seen it as I've been in this field, some lay people subscribe to the myth that creativity is just about being different, or it's just about being original. It's being bizarre, being different just to be different. And that's the great creators. We know their creative work because they were able to produce something that was at once unique, but also provided some value, whether it was a scientific breakthrough or a piece of art. You find that combination between novelty and usefulness.